Well, good morning. It is Tuesday, July 30th, 2024 of the year of our Lord. I'm Dave Palmer, filling in for Keith Downey this week. He is on vacation. He will be back on Monday, and it's quarter after the hour, and it's time for The Next Right Thing with Debbie and Adam. Good morning to both of you. How are y'all doing?
Good morning, Dave. We're doing great. Thank you so much. You're doing a fine job doing the being the guest host for Morning Joy, and I think you've just slipped right into that anchor position beautifully, Dave. So.
No, thank you. It's fun. It's fun. It's good to be with you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Well, in the next right thing, Adam and I love this time, this very short time, less than 30 minutes, to share with our listeners some thoughts that can get them going on their day and with a new, renewed confidence and hope and joy and everything that we'd like to impart. So, Adam, if it's all right with you, we want to open up the phone lines to see what our Morning Joy listeners have to say about anything else that is circulating around on social media. Make sure it's not fake news, double check it to make sure it's solid sources that you're getting it from. But there are a lot of things happening on social media of what has transpired after that whole debacle that happened on the opening ceremonies on Friday of the Olympics. So if you have something to say about this, we do. So please call in 877-757-9424. You got to go quickly, though. 877-757-9424. And you'll speak to Tim, our senior producer, and he'll happily chat with you, put you on hold, and we'll slip you right into the discussion. But Adam, you and I talked about this, The demons try so hard to divide. They try so hard to get us off the mark. They try very hard to get us, away, far away from what is true and beautiful and of God, right? But look what happened after this whole mess of this opening ceremonies at the Olympics, which caused a lot of Christians around the world to really be outraged, and we should be. But look what's happened now, Adam. You see it circulating all over social media, a lot of Jesus talk. So now people are talking all about Jesus, which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, as the dust settles, that's what I feel, and in my conversations with folks, a little bit that I have time for. Yeah, that's the fruit of it. So it brings up dialogue, which is wonderful. It's okay to disagree, but dialogue about, well, what is offensive and, what is okay in terms of disagreeing and how we express that. And, is it really true that Christians are marginalized and a Christian kind of worldview is not valid or acceptable on the public kind of stage? And that's wonderful because it leads to all those discussions. It leads to personal reflection. And that's, of course, where we always end up going, which is the individual. How does it help me as an individual? It forces me to look at my faith and look at how I express my faith and how do I respond when people mock my faith. Because, I think the argument that it doesn't resemble the Last Supper, I don't want to go into it all again, but it's pretty flimsy because there's a kind of direct correlation even in the colors of the clothes people are wearing in there. So it's really healthy in that sense because we do need to be open to some dialogue with people that are not Christian. And Jesus, of course, told us this.
Right.
He let us know, people are going to mock you. People are going to disparage you. Because they disparaged him and mocked him. So we should be comfortable with that because he warned us that's the way life is going to be.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's so interesting, though, Adam. On Saturday morning, just the social media was just blowing up all over the place with everybody just, super angry and rightly so, And now we are having those conversations, and people are starting to be super proud about being Catholic. And I heard now again, we want to make sure it's not fake news. There's a lot of fake stories or old stories, I should say, that are circulating, that are going through social media. But recently I saw a couple posts that some of the Olympic medalists were bringing out their crosses that they were wearing. and kissing their cross and things like that. Now maybe that would have still happened in the Olympics, but now it's becoming something that people are saying, well, I've got to do something. I've got to do something for Jesus. I've got to stick up for Jesus. And I love that. So really, Adam, it backfired on the demons. They tried to divide us, and instead it caused us to talk more about the truth of God, which is so beautiful. And so, I love when I think Christians can respond in that way, and I hope we keep it going. It's kind of like the Eucharistic revival, right? It was so beautiful, and over 60,000 people showed up and came together with the processions and everything they did. And we've heard from multiple sources that you could hear a pin drop. That's how the attention was all on Jesus, right? And so we want to keep that going. We want to take that into our homes and into our parish communities and into our workplaces. Speak a little bit about that, because I think that sometimes we get this excitement in the moment, or we feel, really revved up to do something, and then it stops, and then we go on with life. So we got to keep it going.
Yeah, I've been thinking about two things, Deb. One is the importance of remaining Christian in the way we think about this and the way we respond, meaning to not turn this into kind of an angry, attacking response. We need to be peaceful and loving and pray for the folks that are misunderstanding the reality of Christ and their relationship with him, whether they know it or not. They have a relationship with him, and they're going to discover that very clearly when they go to their judgment. So let's pray for them and be gentle in our response, as opposed to strident or vicious or anything else. We can be firm. And I think, there's a follow-up video that Bishop Barron did. I believe it was this morning or late last night, because I saw it this morning. I think he's given us a great example in the two videos that he did. He did one right after the event that was firm, but not mean, and not kind of vicious or cutting. And then he did a follow-up, and he said, okay, this apology bears some commentary, because the apology really was kind of a veiled insult to some extent. And so he's given us a really good example of firm, but gentle kind of retort to things. And so that's the first point is, sometimes with social media, there's an encouragement to become kind of strident and dismissive and mean, or call names. We certainly don't want to do that. And then the second thing I've been thinking about is what you just said, for sure. This should lead to personal conversion. So when the dust settles, let it leave you thinking about, well, maybe I need to live my faith in the world a little more openly and a little more, engage in it a little bit more, and let the world see that in a natural way. And of course, the greatest way to do that is to be loving and patient with other people and forgiving.
Right. Well, and let's ask our Morning Joy listeners, if it got you fired up a bit to go out there and really be proud about being a Christian, could you call in and share? I have heard that when things like this happen and Christians feel like they're being attacked, I've heard it said that Christians will go into their drawers and get their crosses and crucifixes and start wearing them, and they'll to say, hey, I'm a Christian. And did that happen to you? We want to know, Morning Joy listeners. So please weigh in on this. 877-757-9424. I think if those reports are what's circulating on social media, if it's true about the Olympic medalists, that they are showing their Christian side, I think that's beautiful. I mean, we do see that a lot in sports. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people who are, I know when I was training to be to play professional golf years ago, it was a big thing. A lot, I would say, the majority of athletes, they had a relationship with God. They usually would depend on God for a lot of things, especially when you're in competitive sports. It takes a lot to be in that, and so you see that often, right, with professional sports. But it's nice to see it in the world stage. What do you say to that, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not share that faith? One of the things that that strikes me about all of this is when we're shy about sharing our faith, as if the Christian faith is the one that we should be embarrassed of, or, that the world has kind of browbeat us into thinking that's not acceptable, and it's associated with, things that are, that the world wants to paint as being mean and dismissive, and, basically cow people into being shy about their faith. Whereas, everything else is celebrated. This is the one area where we're supposed to kind of withdraw and be meek in an unhealthy way. There's to be meek and humble of heart, but there's an unhealthy kind of cowering from the world that we should not engage in, because we are to share Jesus with the world. We are to evangelize. Even, the layperson, the baptized layperson, is to evangelize. And so
Right.
These are opportunities to live your faith and share your faith. And again, when the dust settles, let this dialogue be a point of conversion for you, that hopefully your own faith is going to grow, having been tested in a sense.
Right. I love what Valerie had to say on YouTube. Actually, wave to Valerie. Adam, please do so. Valerie says, I wear my cross daily, period. I love that. Valerie, way to go. I think that's awesome. See, that's what I think. I think Christians need to just be bold. We need to be a little, we got to get out there a little more. We can't just sit back and let things happen. So this is good, a good talk we're having. But Adam, we're going to hold it right there, send it back to Dave. He's got some announcements for us, and he'll happily pass it back to us for the final segment of The Next Right Thing. If you want to call in, it's 877-757-9424.
All right. Thanks so much, Adam and Debbie. And yeah, there are a lot of ways you can communicate with us. We love the phone calls. I know, you're in your morning routine and sometimes it's tough to pick up the phone and call. But if it's possible for you and your circumstances right now, and I'm sure you have some opinion on this, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Just kind of hear where you're calling from, what part of our broadcasting area you are. 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. And also, as Debbie alluded to a moment ago, there's a lot of chatter going on and talk on social media. So if you want to get on the YouTube or Facebook or X and communicate there, it's like a little community. It's so cool because everybody, a lot of the same people come every single morning, and they all kind of get to know each other. And so it's a family within the family. And so we're so glad that you're there as well. And we want to read some of those comments, especially in the after show. We have the Clubhouse at the end in about an hour or so. And we'll have a more informal conversation there, and we'd love to get your comments, and we can read a lot more of them because it's a little less pressured at that time. So join us there, and join us now, and we're going to come back with The Next Right Thing, the second segment with Debbie and Adam, and give us a call if you'd like to, 877-757-9424. This is Morning Joy, where truth matters. We'll be back.
Listening to Morning Joy, where truth matters.
We are back. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 30th, 17th week in Ordinary Time, and we are right smack dab in the middle of The Next Right Thing here on Morning Joy, where truth matters. So with no further ado, I'll give out the phone number and throw right back to Adam and Debbie. 877-757-9424 is the phone number. Debbie and Adam, let's continue the conversation.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much. And we do have some comments coming in from social media and also some calls coming in, so I'll share that. Adam, again, wave to the YouTubers. Amy said, my miraculous medal hasn't been off my neck for a year now. Way to go, Amy. That is awesome. See, these are good conversations. And then Charles called in, just left a comment from San Angelo, Texas. And Charles, you're spot on. I couldn't agree with you more. Listen to this, Adam. Charles said that, I think it's important to remind everybody that we shouldn't wait for a controversy to show our faith in public. And that is so true. We need to be authentically Catholic all the time, be bold, be brave, be courageous, be ready with a response, be ready to defend our faith the best we can. And that is so true. And Charles makes a good point, Adam, because, but I would say that these kinds of things that come up, it does kind of wake people up a bit. So whatever is needed to get people going, I think we support that and we keep encouraging it. But I do think we need to keep going. I think that's for the next right thing for today, for me anyway, Adam, is that's what I would like to really promote. This idea that don't let things slow down. Don't let things just fall off. Keep going and do what Charles said. Keep going out there and sharing the faith, professing the faith, living the faith. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting a little project here, Deb, if you would help me with it. I was thinking about this during the break. What would be like 3 rules for our online life as Christians, as Catholic Christians? I was wondering, help me with this. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Be civil,
Mm-hmm.
be firm,
Mm-hmm.
respect and expect respect.
For online, kind of protocol?
Our online life.
Online, yeah, I would agree. And the other thing that I've always adopted, this is just me personally, I tend to always have something that is going to be of a spiritual benefit. And so I don't really engage in personal things or I mean, prayer, yes, prayer is a big thing. But I'm talking about I have the Mother Teresa kind of attitude that I always want somebody, if they're going to spend time online, I want them to walk away with a better understanding of God and themselves and their relationship and their faith life, something that's going to move them along the spiritual path. What do you think of that?
Okay. So could we go with be civil, be firm, respect and expect respect, and be loving?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. I love
Okay.
that. Now, how are you going to put that into practice? Because that's not really what happens on social media.
I know. But, social media trains us to be outraged, and that's what gets attention. So, I don't use social media. I remember, I looked at Facebook when it first came out back in the Stone Ages, and it seemed like a huge kind of time sink to me. But I understand, people grow up and live on social media, but I think we kind of need maybe a set of, kind of
Guidelines?
a set of guidelines for living, in this public world, this town square online. It's just a thought. Maybe over the next year, I could figure it out with your help and some other people's help.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I think if we start it, it'll spread. That's the other thing, too. The funny thing about social media, online things, there's these trends that happen. And somebody will just start something and it just has this huge ripple effect. And I think we can do that as Christians. We can go out there and really demonstrate what it means to live out our Christian life. And it's actually very easy. I think some people may be a little bit hesitant because they think they're going to be judged. They think they're going to be canceled, or somebody's going to hurt them, or they're going to be labeled or targeted or something. And but I do believe, Adam, and we saw that happen even with this controversy that happened on the opening ceremonies. If Christians would stand together and just unite in that way, and especially through prayer. And like you say, Adam, all the time, we're going to talk more towards the end of the week about forgiveness. If we would just stand together, we would really be able to help this world and transform this world.
Yeah, and I think what often gets people's attention in the end, unfortunately, it's just reality, is the dollars. So I suspect that when some of the advertisers pulled their advertising based on this display, that probably had a lot more to do with the apology that they made than anything else. I suspect, given the kind of strangely backhanded apology that kind of came off as if, well, if you're so unenlightened to be upset, we're sorry about that, is kind of what Bishop Barron was pointing out in his most recent video, and I agree. But I think, I'm not calling for boycotts or anything like that. But I think when we act as a group, that's when people notice.
And I think you teach people the way you want to be treated. You have to share things, and we do deserve some respect. Just like we give respect, we deserve respect. And so I think that's really something we can practice. The other thing too, I just want to mention again, because I absolutely have the greatest love and admiration for all the athletes from around the world that have worked their whole lives to be on that stage. I this is nothing against them. I totally support what they're trying to do and all their efforts. So my heart breaks that this is going to be what a lot of people are going to remember of this particular Olympics. And I just think we should just put the focus back on the competitive games and the athletes. What do you say to that?
Yeah, for sure. The individual journeys that they're on, regardless of what religion they participate in, need to be celebrated and respected. They're doing this for themselves. They're doing this for their country. They've put their usually at least a decade, if not their entire lives of training, into making it there. And so, yeah, to celebrate the human spirit generally across the board, regardless of the religion that they participate in. Just hopefully this becomes an encouragement to all faiths to expect respect from the world, to give respect to other faiths and people that don't have faith, but also expect that in return. And then we can get back to being a human family and have that togetherness that this is supposed to foster. The Olympics are supposed to foster that. Right. And so we shouldn't let the divider, which diabolos means divider, we shouldn't let the divider come in and split apart the human family, even on the secular level, that we're talking about as just being human beings. So yeah, let's hopefully move. I would say that would be one thing to say for the next right thing right now, is let's move past the division that has been created, and let's get back to celebrating each other as human beings in the athletics that are going on, and respect and expect respect.
Wow. I love that. That was perfect for me. Thank you so much, Adam. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And God willing, we will be back tomorrow for the next right thing. So we're going to turn it back, all of our attention back to Dave Palmer, our guest host.
All of your attention?
All of our attention, Dave.
I don't think I need all of it, okay? Maybe a portion of it, Debbie. Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Great segment there. The Next Right Thing with Debbie and Adam. Always great to hear them every single morning. And thanks for the comments, especially on social media. And you're always invited to call in. In fact, Tim and I have planned the next segment, which is typically when I'm the guest. And of course, I had the problem, what do I do when I'm the guest and I'm also the host? And so Tim and I brainstormed and we thought, well, let's open up the phone lines and let's talk about Aquinas. Let's talk about the Summa. Let's talk about philosophy. And so I'll just kind of on the next segment say, do you enjoy philosophy? Have you ever taken a philosophy course? Do you have any questions about St. Thomas Aquinas, the Summa Theologia? Maybe you find it really intimidating and you just like to have a conversation about it. So that's what Tim and I are going to do in the next segment, because that's typically when I'm thinking out loud, but I got to think out loud double now because I'm the host and the guest as well. 877-757-9424. And don't forget that if you would like more of Adam and Debbie, check them out Saturday mornings, 10 o'clock Central for the Spirit World, produced by Guadalupe Radio Network. We'll be right back with Morning Joy after this.
You're listening to Morning Joy, where truth matters.